I've never had a Valentine. So every single Valentine's Day for the last 28 years, I've never had a Valentine. I've never been in a relationship and dating anybody. And I was just thinking about that. So I was talking to my girlfriend and I was like, what's wrong with me? Why is everybody in a relationship but me? Why is it so hard for me? And her answer, you stay single because you don't put out. So today I thought I'd get on here and just have a conversation about premarital sex, about premarital jingy. So when I say jingy, I'm referring to sex, okay? So, I thought I'd get on here and talk about it, talk about why I don't do it, and why I would encourage all single women to not put out either. Honestly, I'd encourage anyone who wants to be empowered to not put out. I want to firstly, I want to explain who this video is really for. This video is intended for women, non-religious women and religious women, okay? God knows that I'm not a saint. God knows that I'm not perfect and I've done things that I regret. I've crossed boundaries before. So this video is in no way to condemn anyone. This video is for women who have a past when it comes to sex and who don't. My intention is to present a way that is different than the norm, a way that actually empowers women and actually positions women to live better lives now, and also to position their futures to be better. So let's get started. I just also want to preface this video by ensuring that we are on the same page, okay? We're all on the same page here. So you guys remember that Rihanna video where, I don't know, I guess maybe the interviewer was like asking her about like men or just like relationships and stuff like that. And Rihanna, she was like, to be clear, I'm not looking for a man.
And what are you looking for in the next man?
Pardon?
What are you looking for in a man now to wear this cologne?
I'm not looking for a man. Let's start there.
In this video, I want to be very clear. This video is for women who are looking for men. Let's be clear. God knows I'm looking for one. God knows I'm looking for one, okay? So, and guess what? There's nothing wrong with that. If you're like a religious person, you believe that women were actually created for men because God made the whole world, made all these things, and the one thing that he said was not good was that man was alone. So what did he do? He made women. It is a natural and it is a good and a healthy desire to want to be with someone, to want to have a partner, to want to be married. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. First off, it's not giving pick me energy, okay? So desiring a good man and taking the steps as a woman in order to position yourself and to get what you want, to get a good man, it's not giving pick me energy like all these people want to say. Wanting a man and positioning yourself, taking the steps, doing what you need to do, the internal work, the external work in order to get what you want, it's not pick me energy, okay? So I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see any of that in the comments, please. If we want men, at the end of the day, if we want men, we need to listen to what men want, okay? And how they are. And to look at the research too. So this video is really going to be talking about those different things. So if you're interested, keep watching. Reason number one for not putting out as a single woman is sex is extremely sacred and powerful. Despite what hookup culture tells us, there is nothing casual about sex. Nothing casual about it. When you're having sex, bonding hormones are released, okay? This is a natural thing. Bonding hormones attach you to the person that you are doing the jingy jingy with, that you're getting it on and popping with. It attaches you two together. When two people come together, they become one. How can we think that continuously ripping apart two things that are now attached together, how can we think that ripping those things apart is not going to damage either thing, especially when it happens over and over and over again? You know, people can deny it as much as they want. They can say that sex is not serious. It's literally just sex. It's completely normal. It's completely, everybody does it. But honestly, I believe that people are lying, because behind closed doors, it does affect a person. And if it somehow hasn't affected them yet, it's gonna affect their future. Another thing, you know, if you think that sex is casual, if you don't think that it's sacred, I want you to remember the original purpose of sex. It's to create life. If the man and woman who are doing the act together do not intentionally put precautions in place to prevent it, it's likely that a new life is going to be formed. How is there anything casual about that? Just think about that. I want you to think about that. All right, so that's number one. Number one is sex is extremely sacred and powerful. Number two, abstaining from sex while dating, talking to guys, all that sort of stuff. Abstaining from sex will weed out the men who do not really care about you. So, you know, men have their games, okay? They know what to say to you to get you into the bedroom. And a lot of the time, that's ultimately their goal, all right? So even if you are like hesitant to do it and to engage in those acts, you know, they might respond to you by saying, oh, you know, that's really great. I really want a woman like that, and I really respect that and admire that about you. They can say that with their words, but you really have to pay close attention. Because I've had plenty of guys say that to me, you know, I've had plenty of guys talk up, you know, like just reassuring me, telling me what I want to hear. But at the end of the day, you know, something that I heard is, you know, don't believe a man by their words. Don't even believe a man by their actions. Believe a man by his patterns, okay? Watch his patterns, you know, watch how he treats you, okay? When you do say no and when you don't give him what he wants, okay? And if he pressures you and everything like that to do something that you're not comfortable doing, that you have specifically made very clear and have articulated to him that you are not ready, he doesn't really care about you, you know? Not giving a man what he wants physically will tell you everything that you need to know about him. Honest to goodness. Not giving a man what he wants physically will tell you everything that you need to know about him. Honest to goodness. Reason number three, waiting and standing by your convictions leaves no room for doubt. So, you know, I've dated before. I've been in compromising situations, all right? I've been pressured despite my plan to wait until marriage. But you know what? I've never wanted to give my whole self to someone knowing that he could just leave. Every time I've gotten close and he's told me that he's loved me, he told me all these sorts of different things, okay? Things that I wanted to hear. Things that any girl would want to hear. He tried to convince me. I thought about the future. I thought about the immediate future of after everything's said and done, he's gone, he leaves, like, you know, he leaves, or he's gone the next morning, or a couple months after doing it, would he leave? And I thought about how I would feel if that would happen, because you can't you can't take it back. You know, once you give yourself to someone, you can't take it back. And I've just always wanted to be 100% sure without a shadow of a doubt. And I've wanted to wait to share that part of myself with the one man who commits to me, the one man who commits to never leaving me in front of all our family, in front of all our friends, in front of God at the altar, that he's never gonna leave me. You know, I think it's just, I don't know, a woman gives her whole self to a man because at the end of the day, we all want love. We all want to be loved and everything. And to be so vulnerable with somebody in that moment and to just like love him with your whole heart and everything like that. And then after after everything is said and done, he moves on. He finds somebody new, and then he lives as though you never even existed. Like you're a complete stranger, like you never meant anything to him at all. And you know, I am like a hopeless romantic. I do get a little attached. I get kind of attached pretty quickly to a guy that I'm dating or guy that I'm talking to, and I give my heart to them. You know, I end up talking to them more than almost anybody else in my life. You know, we're constantly FaceTiming or just on phone calls or just hanging out or texting or whatever it is, you know. And then things end and they move on and you become a complete stranger, and I know how deeply that has hurt me. And so, you know, I can only imagine how much deeper the pain is when you do give them your whole self, you do give them your whole body in the form of intimacy. So honestly, keeping sex out of the equation helps to lessen that loss. Number 4, the double standard does exist. And we have to realize that and act accordingly in order to get what we want. So what I mean by the double standard is that, you know, we all know that it's praised for men to have a lot of sexual partners, and that's just completely normal, you know, in society. But it's not the same for women. It's just not. Of course, if you're like a religious person and you believe like in the Bible or in like religious holy texts, you know that the double standard is not really, that the double standard is not cool in God's eyes. You know, like God tells everybody, men and women, to flee from sexual immorality. But when it comes to the world, when it comes to society, there is this double standard, and men can sleep around and have a high body count while it is condemned for women. This double standard exists, and I don't see it going anywhere. You know, as trifling as it is, I don't see it going anywhere. So, you know, there's always going to be a solid amount of men who care about a woman's past. And if you really think about it, it's kind of flipped. Like, women care about a man's future, you know? They care about where he's going, his hopes, his dreams, his goals, what he's doing right now in order to accomplish those goals. And, you know, really thinking about, like, is this man going to be able to provide for me, provide for our children, and everything like that. So women really are focused on the future, a man's future, while men a lot of the time are focused on a woman's past, where she's been, what she's done, who she's been with, what she's done with those men. Men are kind of possessive in a way a lot of the time, especially like masculine men. They do care. And, you know, like I said earlier, at the end of the day, we are looking for a man. We want a man. I know, I want a man.
A big, strong man.
Okay, anyways. So, you know, we have to manage these double standards. If we want a man and we want to get what we want, we have to acknowledge the double standard and live accordingly. Reason number 5. I never want to experience fear around finding out that I'm pregnant. You know, I want the thought of being pregnant to be exciting, to be like the most exciting time in my life. To know that I have the security of a loving, supporting, present husband and partner to raise the child. Both parents need to be intentional and present within a child's life in order to ensure that that child grows up to be secure in themselves. Okay? We know that children need consistency, and it takes two to have a child because both of those people are needed in order to make sure that the child is positioned for success. Physically, emotionally, spiritually, all those sorts of things. Without both, the child is going to be affected one way or another. And often when a child is only really raised by one parent, it affects that child in different ways throughout their life. We've all heard about daddy issues. Okay, there are too many broken homes and children that are being abandoned by one parent. Often they're abandoned by the father, and then the woman has to raise the child alone. A woman has to risk her very life to be pregnant, while the father can just leave. go about living his life any old kind of way. Therefore, naturally, sex before marriage is more consequential for women. It's just natural. It's a fact. You can't argue with that. So, of course, waiting until marriage to have sex doesn't necessarily mean that the parents are going to stay together and that, there's not going to be any issues when it comes to that. I'm not saying that, but you can't deny that going about it that way, ensuring that you have that commitment, that support of a man within the covenant of marriage, helps to set the stage for both of those parents to be actively present in that child's life. Reason number 6, the higher number of partners, the higher risk of divorce. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence about that, or, different videos of people, especially a lot of men, in the manosphere and everything, saying that, the higher the number of, partners leads to less likelihood of getting married or having a strong marriage and things like that. Things that people just spew off with their mouths, of course, just take with a grain of salt. But when there's actual research and evidence to back up a claim, I really think that it's worth taking into account and listening to and everything. In a study conducted by the Journal of Family Studies, researchers state, we find evidence of a non-linear relationship between the number of sexual partners and the risk of divorce. Those in the highest category of partners, 9+, consistently show the highest divorce risk by a substantial margin, followed by those with 1 to 8 partners, with the lowest risk of those with none. Later it says, although partner counts of 8 or less have become increasingly normative, having more partners may indicate distinctive characteristics which are not conducive to marital stability. In addition, in different reports, like a report that they cite here, sex has stronger adverse consequences for mental and emotional health for women than men. Furthermore, women are subjected to a sexual double standard in which they may face negative evaluations for sexual behavior, resulting in greater social consequences. For these reasons, it is possible premarital sex will have a stronger effect on marital functioning and ultimately the risk of divorce for women than men. So what is this saying? It's saying that the higher number of sexual partners that a person has, the higher risk for divorce or, troubles within the marriage. And obviously marriage is hard for anyone. Marriage is challenging. It's, you're committing to one person for the rest of your life. And I know there's challenges. I don't just have like this, everything's rainbow, everything sunshine and Disney true love's kiss, sort of naive mindset about marriage. I know that it's hard. I have plenty of people in my life who have very hard marriages, and they go through it. And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen divorce and everything like that. So, you know, just keeping that in the back of your mind, I think is important, because a lot of us do desire to be married. I know that's not everybody's desire is to be married, but I know that I desire to be married. And, you know, based on research, it would suggest that continuously sleeping with person, you know, a different person after person after person, it can cause issues in your marriage down the line. As someone who has always planned to wait until marriage, and who has been ghosted and dumped and rejected more times than I can count because I don't put out, I know that it can feel like you're losing if you choose to live in this way. Especially when it seems like everyone around you is in happy relationships and like they're thriving and everything. And, you know, they put out, you know, they're doing well. They have someone who loves them, or they have someone who seemingly loves them. I know that it can be hard. I know that it doesn't help to see that. I know it doesn't help that society is so over-sexualized, like at every single corner, like everywhere. Like music, obviously, music is just so sexual, way too sexual. It's so, the lyrics are so explicit, and like people eat that up, you know? And sometimes you hear that, you see those music videos, you see that, you know, I don't know, I think of all the videos on YouTube that are, you know, it's a plethora of women encouraging other women to become sugar babies. Videos of women giving advice to other women about how to satisfy their man in the bedroom. Not their husbands, not even necessarily their boyfriends, but just their man or a man, any man, okay? Doing all these sorts of things, giving all these sorts of privileges to a man who hasn't committed to them. Of course, Instagram models, OnlyFans women, baddie culture. I understand there's a real temptation to want to be like that, to want to be like them, to be like, what is the point? I'm getting older and older and older. Why do I keep waiting? What is the benefit in that? I'm wasting my life. They're all in happy relationships, or they seem to get men and have men in their lives way more than me. These women don't have to stay single for long. Why would I not put out? People of all ages are influenced by these things, by what you're getting from the outside, you know? It's just it's saturated. Our society is saturated with sex. It's what's normal. But it wasn't always like this. I think that's important to acknowledge. It wasn't always like this. This wasn't always the norm. If you are wanting to reject hookup culture and to save yourself for, you know, the one person who is really going to commit to you, the one person who actually deserves all those benefits, then I think it's important to be intentional about the voices that you listen to, okay? To the advice that you listen to. Are these people that you're listening to really trying to build you up? Are they really trying to empower you or not? You should follow people who follow the same moral standard that you have, okay? You don't be listening to men or women who don't live by these moral compasses that you have. So, for instance, there are too many relationship people, gurus on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever, who have millions upon millions of followers, right? But they're hypocritical as I don't know what, okay? It might kind of sound good what they're talking about, but behind closed doors, well, they're sleeping with lots of women, okay? Don't listen to them. In addition, there are too many teachers who are, they are speaking some true things. There is some truth in their message, but they are way too holier than thou. They come off extremely judgmental, harsh, belittling, and frankly obnoxious. Just absolutely obnoxious. These teachers need to learn how to speak the truth in love, okay? A lot of these men are just not very intelligent. They bash women for having multiple partners while at the same time demanding and expecting and pressuring women to give it up on the second date or to just come over. Make it make sense. Like, block these fools. Block them. Don't even try and argue with them, okay? Because I've tried. I'd be in the comment sections. I'd be asking them real questions, okay? And all they want to do is argue, and they don't even answer any of my questions, okay? So, like, you know, those are the men. Do not listen to men who call real men simps, okay? Real men love one woman, and they commit to one woman, okay? They love her. They listen to her. They don't pressure her to do things that she's not comfortable doing, that she's not ready for. Real men love one woman. And any man who calls a man who loves one woman, who is married or wants, you know, a man who wants to be married, a man who wants to have a wife and a family and all that sort of stuff, anyone who calls those men simps are fools. Fools. I said what I said. I would suggest listening to real men. Number one, Tony Gaskins. I've talked about him before. Check him out. As he said in his videos, he's a God-made millionaire. All right, he's actually a millionaire, and he's been married for, I believe, 16 years now, and has 2 children. And I listen to him constantly. The second guy is his channel's called The Shoe Make Way. I hope that I said that correctly. I listen to him a lot too. And the third one, R.C. Blakes Jr. 3 incredible men who actually care about women and actually care about the empowerment of women, unlike all these other people, all these other voices in society who don't actually care about women and us valuing ourselves and respecting ourselves, and they don't care about our futures either, okay? Something that I must emphasize right now: it is never too late to start waiting until marriage. The judgmental and hypocritical people who act like they've never sinned a day in their life, they'll say if you've already had sex before, there is no reason, there is no point for you to become celibate. This is easily one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. It's like saying that there's no point in evolving, that people should not evolve, that learning lessons is not a thing. Bettering oneself is not something that you should do. Why would you listen to that? Don't listen to that foolishness. No matter what you've done, where you've been. It is a beautiful, powerful, and respectable thing to deny your carnal desires and to ultimately protect your body, protect your emotions, and the sexual aspect of your future marriage. Self-control is honorable, and you're not wasting your life by not putting out. Think about it. It is way easier for a woman to have sex than a man. We could go out and meet someone at Walmart and have sex. Like, it's easy, but it's not that easy for men, right? It's harder for them to get it, right? It's harder for them to get it than us. Therefore, it says more when we abstain from it. Anyone can give into their carnal desires. What strength it takes to not. I've been pressured many times to do things that I didn't want to do, that I was not ready to do. Guys trying to get me to forget about my convictions, okay? And to just give them convictions, okay? And to just give them, to do for them what they want. Men have gotten angry with me. They have belittled me. People have said terrible things about me. I've been ghosted. I've been dumped. But I'm still here. I'm still here standing by my convictions. I'm still here refusing to have sex in a relationship, despite that being the expectation, despite that being the norm, that you sleep with the person that you're dating. I won't. Abstaining from sex is actually powerful. And abstaining from sex is an act of self-love. You, my friend, are more precious than rubies. You're worth more than gold, in fact. Do we give our gold to anyone? Do we let someone access our gold just because he's hot? And because they want it? And because they might buy you a nice dinner?
No, we don't.
We protect it at all costs. We only give it to the one who deserves it. The one who respects us enough to respect our convictions. Anyone who pressures you to do something that you're not comfortable with, that you're not ready for, that you're reluctant to do in any way, shape, or form, doesn't care about you. They're selfish and they want to use you and your body for their own instant gratification. A man is not gonna die, okay? I don't care what anybody says. Oh, well, their sex drive is so strong because they're men. Who has ever died from not having sex? I'll wait. They don't have to have it. They will survive. I hate that argument. Oh, well, men need it. Men's sex drives are higher than women. If you're not ready and you don't want to give it to him, don't, okay? Because he's most likely going to end up leaving anyways. The relationship will most likely not work out. And then you know what you're left with? You know what you're left with? Yourself. And if you had convictions, and if you have convictions about sex before marriage, you're left with regret. At the end of the day, self-control is something that everyone should be striving for. It's a respectable thing. And I always say this, it's one of my favorite quotes, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Self-control is empathy for your future self. Think about her. Think about how she'll feel when it's over, when everything is over and everything's done with, and he gets up and he leaves. Waiting is hard, but it's worth it in the end. How often do you hear about women who waited saying that they regretted waiting for marriage versus the amount of people, the amount of women who regret giving it away, regret giving something so intimate, so special to someone who didn't deserve it. So I know I said a lot in that video. I would love a conversation. I would love a discussion in the comments. So please share your thoughts about anything that I said. Comment your opinion or your thoughts, your take. I really would love to know. I love having conversations with, of course with people who think like me, but also with people who don't. I love picking people's brains, and I love, I just love discussion. I just love a discussion. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And I hope that this encouraged someone. Stay unique and stay beautiful. And don't forget to be kind to yourself. Okay.